So, welcome back. So, this is module 2, chapter 5. So, like I said in previous chapter that we'll be starting with texturing. So far I have successfully textured the entire barrel, and I'll be guiding you through the process of how I did this texture. So you can see here I have chosen to copy this barrel and reference this barrel and texture our barrel with reference of this barrel. So let's get started, and I will walk you through the entire user interface and ins and outs of entire Adobe Substance 3D Painter. So it will be easier for you to understand what I am trying to say and what I am trying to teach you. So let's move this out of the screen right now. And if you are familiar with Photoshop, then you will be knowing that layer system over here. So like in Photoshop, here also it goes on ascending order. Whatever is on bottom is actually on bottom. If I show it to you, everything. So very first material what we have here is steel material. Okay. So upon that we have paint of orange color and blue color. Upon that we have logo, and upon that we have some variations of oil dirtiness, and one more variation of to break up the color to make it look more dirtier, and one more layer of dents. Let's name this as dents, and one layer of coloring this and giving this deeper color, and one layer of this oil spills, and one layer is for the cap. Okay, so I did not focus enough on cap because the main reason for me to show for me to do texturing here is to familiarize you with the Substance 3D Painter software. So the main focus will be this part, okay, this entire part, not the cap, and not the lid and the cap. Okay, but by default this cap has been textured because we did not apply mask over here. I did it on purpose. So you can see there I have created some dents on the top also, and a few dents here also. Okay, so let's see how we can do this. Let's start with basics here. Just open up Adobe Substance 3D Painter. Okay, here select template, don't do anything, just go to select. Here you will be able to select the model. Like I showed you in previous chapter, I exported oil barrel LP. You'll have to import that first. Okay, so once you have selected, let's keep the document resolution and on 2048 2K. You can go up till 4K also, but I am currently recording. So I just don't want to slow down my computer. So 2K is enough. You can export the textures in whatever resolution you want. Just select the model. You have to select oil barrel LP. Let the document resolution be 2K. For you, if you have good enough PC, you can keep it at 4K also. Nothing else. Don't do any changes. Just click on OK. We are going to discard this. Okay. So now you can see the barrel has been imported. So you can just paint on the barrel because we have one paint layer enabled over here, added over here by default. So this is 2D view of this barrel. Okay, if you paint here, the paint appears on the barrel also. That is why doing very clean UVs is important. If you had these UVs a little bit tilted on any angle, then it would have been a little difficult to paint. Okay, so it is especially in the field of video games, it is very important that you have straight UVs. Okay, that is why if you remember, we did straightening of the UVs. Okay, so always remember having straight UVs helps a lot. So this is 3D viewport, this is 2D viewport. Okay, and navigation is exactly as it was in Autodesk Maya. Alt right mouse button, hold it and drag it left to right is zoom in, zoom out. Alt plus middle mouse button is panning. Alt plus left mouse button, hold it and it is orbit. Okay. F is to focus like it was in Maya. Q, W, E, R is for Q is to exit any tool, W is to move, E to rotate, R to scale. Okay, scaling in the sense we'll be using that to move textures here in 2D view. You can do that in 3D view also. This is library. So this library consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 categories. Here is materials. These are smart materials. These are smart masks. I'll show you one by one. These are smart materials. Smart materials are basically they come with pre-applied masks. For this smart materials to work, you'll have to make texture maps first, or else it will not show any kind of effect. Okay, so if you apply like this steel painted, it will not show any effect until and unless you bake the textures for it. So this is smart material, this is smart marks. We'll be using this here and then. And these are the, I think these are the filters. Yeah, these are filters. I don't use these a lot. These are brushes. These are very useful, and latest version of Substance 3D Painter has a lot of brushes. These are alphas. Alphas are useful. You can plug it into brushes and do painting. These are what do you say? These are textures, procedural textures. Each and every single texture over here is procedural. And here are HDRIs. You can also import textures, whichever textures you want. That is possible. So, and the these are the menus which are very common in. If you have some kind of different layout here, you can just go into window. You can click on reset UI. It will reset everything. But usually texture set list, I don't have it enabled. I don't have it docked here. Only two things I have docked here is layers, texture set settings, and properties. So now that we have come to texture set settings, here you can change the texture resolution again. And here you can add channels and delete channels. The channels, you can keep the channels you want, you can keep delete the channels you don't want. So base color, metallic, roughness, normal, and height are always needed. Okay, don't bother about this. Will not be what do you say, will not be doing anything over here. So but this is very important, bake mesh maps. So when you click on bake mesh maps, it gives you an interface to bake maps. So let's click on 2K over here. 2K in the sense, it means in what texture resolution you want to bake maps. Okay, you can keep it to 2K, and when you export it, you can you can export it on 4K also. But to keep the viewport very light, and if you don't want any hiccups in the middle of the texturing process, you can keep the output size to 2K. 2K is pretty decent if you ask me. You can do a lot of things with 2K texture maps. Okay, so here these are the channels which you can bake. Okay, so these are normal, world space, normal, ID, which is color ID, used for masking. Ambient occlusion is for the shading, shadows, and curvature map. Curvature map will be used in smart materials. Position map also will be used in smart materials. And thickness is not, you can disable thickness if you are not doing, if you are not texturing anything which is translucent. Here we have this is not translucent material. Translucent material is which is partially transparent, not entirely transparent, not entirely opaque. Okay, you can disable this thickness over here. So maps which we are going, which we will be baking are normal, world space, normal, ID, ambient. ID also will not be using. Ambient occlusion, curvature, and position. Okay, so let's come here, let's click on normal map over here, and we'll have to import high poly model to bake high poly models on low poly, high poly details on low poly. Okay, now you see here it's not giving any smoothing effect and all, so that is why we will need high poly over here. So just click on high definition mesh over here. Under apply diffusion, high poly parameters and all, you'll see, you'll be able to see this high definition meshes. You can click on that, and you can navigate to wherever you exported your high poly model of the barrel. So you can, I have named it here oil underscore barrel underscore HP. HP means high poly. So you can click on HP over here and open. Okay, this is a pretty decent, what you say, pretty in terms of baking. This model is very, it's not very complex, so we don't have to fiddle with any kind of settings over here. So all you can do is, once you have imported the, once you have selected the high poly mesh, you can simply click on bake selected textures, and you can see here it is baking textures. Normal is done, world space, normal, occlusion is baking, next curvature, and is next position. Okay, now you will be able to see difference in the model. See, now here let's to show you what the what is the difference. So before moving any further, there is one thing. If you are seeing this jaggedness over here, you can make your viewport very smooth. So what you can do is, I don't like seeing these jagged lines over here like this jagged lines over here. So what I usually do is open display settings over here. This is the second button over here. Open display settings, and I can come under active temporal anti-aliasing. You can click here. Once I click here, you can see the difference over here. If I click here, this line becomes very smooth. The stepping goes away. Okay, this bothers me a lot, so I just activate temporal anti-aliasing. I don't do anything in the samples. I keep it to whatever it is. You can close this, and let's see what is the difference now after baking and without baking. Okay, so let's see. Let's disable all these maps over here. Now you see the difference, right? Now I am going to add ambient occlusion map over here, and you will be able to see some shadows appear in the corners of the model. Okay, like these areas, it will have some shadow. You can hold, drag, select. You don't have to do this. I'm just showing you what the difference is. You can just watch it, and you don't have to repeat after me. So you can select this ambient occlusion map over here, and if I put it in ambient occlusion channel, you will see the difference. Okay, the shadows have appeared, right? See the difference. The shadows appear. Okay, so I can so next is normal map, right? So let's see normal, where just type in normal map. You'll be able to find the big normal map here. Where is it? Here. You can just drag and put it into normal map channel. Okay, some normal details appear. And here world space normal, let's put this in world space normals. This won't have any effect. This is to utilize this in the smart materials. Okay, so let's do it again. Let's undo everything. Let's go import low poly, open, and let it be at 2K. Let's click on OK, discard everything. Now let's go into bake meshes. Texture, you'll be able to find it in texture set settings. Click on bake meshes and just deselect thickness and ID, and keep this at 2K and bake selected. Okay, now that the baking is done, now you know why we do the baking and what is the difference once we bake and once we don't bake. So I'm going to cut down chapters in very small durations right now. I'll try to keep the chapters in between 20 to 30 minutes, so it is not, the video is not too long for you to follow. So I'll end this chapter here, and in the next chapter we'll start with texturing the barrel. Okay, I'll see you in the next chapter.